All right. Bava Metziah Daf Sama Daf Ayin Dalid. Ayin Dalid Omid Aleph. Top line. Omar Rava. Rava says, Hani b'nei klasa liyavi zuzir echad lemizban hu midi uzman echad v'nayim. In the case of these three people gave money to an individual in order for him to purchase an item for them. And he purchased the item for only one of them. So Allah is zvan l'chulu. He has actually purchased it for all of them. In other words, all three share ownership of that which she purchased. And the one for whom the item was purchased does not have the additional claim on the merchandise. All three gave him the money. He had the ayat kavanah for one, doesn't matter. Zvan l'kulu. He took the money. But we said this halacha only with the shliach. The shliach did not wrap and seal each person's money separately. He took all the money, put it in one bundle. If you wrapped up and sealed each person's money separately, and he spent the money of only one of them, then the man is zvan. The one whom he purchased it, and he did not purchase the item for those whom he did not purchase. The Papa said in the name of Rav, Hai setumta. In the case of labeling an item with a marker, in other words, it was a sumta. What's a sumta? Which was commonly used to indicate that specific merchandise has been sold. Even though the buyer had not yet paid, the item was still located in the seller's warehouse. Yeah, but he marked it down as sold. So Hai setumta kanye. The labeling affects acquisition of the merchandise for the buyer. So with regards to what it was, exactly. So mamish. It means he actually affects acquisition. In other words, that the merchandise belongs to the buyer for all intents and purposes. Right. The Rabbanan Amri and Chacham say like this:
it is done indeed. You vow saying
Mazal, and it's done even if you didn't get your pay for it yet. Done. Handshake. Chum said it affects acquisition only concerning a case where one of the parties withdraws from the transaction and is required the kabula elai mishapara to accept himself the curse of mishapara. Right, the famous. So the Beis Din, in other words, the Beis Din does not force the parties to actually complete the transaction, but if they back out, the curse of mishapara is basically the person lacks integrity. The halacha is that the marker affects the acquisition of the item only in that one who withdraws from the transaction is required to accept upon himself the curse. In a place where the custom is that it actually affects the acquisition of the item, it actually affects the acquisition of it. In other words, an halacha recognizes the legitimacy. It says, in other words, the person doesn't have a financial responsibility. But he gets the curse of mishapara by, says the he who exacts payment from the people of the Dora Mabul, Dora Flaga, and he should basically curse the guy out. When to curse somebody, you say azol krigana mishapara. Okay, the Mishnah teaches that Haya hu tchila l'keitzim. The seller was first amongst the reapers. So he may set a price for the buyer only with the produce he has ready for delivery. Omar now Rav says, if only two actions needed to complete the labor to prepare the produce were lacking, paisik, he may set a price. If the produce is viewed as if he already had been prepared. Shalish, but if three actions were lacking, then in a paisik he may not set a price, because it's considered that the item is not prepared. And by you making a price, it's a type of dibus. Shmuel says, if the action needs to complete the labor are bidei adam, performed by human hands, filamea pesach. And if the 100 actions are lacking, he may set a price. Bidei shamayim, but if the necessary action may be accomplished by the hands of the heaven, filachas and pesach, even one action is lacking, he may not set a price.
If you're going to react, I think this would likely be gold voltage.
Right.
Had it nice on the label and just matter to we say.
Exactly. Right. There's another Gemara challenges Rav's opinion. Tanan, other than the Mishnah, basic email Agadish says in the Mishnah that he may send a price on a stack of grain. Now, like this is what you're saying. But there's still several actions that are lacking. Placing the sun to dry, threshing, and winnowing it. These are three actions that are lacking. Yet the Mishnah rules that he may send a price. So where it says, Mishnah is discussing a case where he already placed it in the sun and it dried. So there are only really two actions that are lacking. And according to Shmuel, Damar, who says, it basically says, in the action remaining, if the actions remaining are to be accomplished by the hand of the Shemayim, even if one action is lacking, he may not set a price. But the case in the Mishnah, the produce is lacking winnowing. The Shemayim, which is done by the Shemayim, because winnowing can be done only if there's a wind. So my answer is Asher benefusa. It's possible to winnowing this with sieves, and when the wind is not blowing. So although this is done only in like certain circumstances, since it's possible to perform the action entirely by human hands, it's permitted to set a price.
No law.
We set a price for a large basket of grapes. So based on this, the Gemara challenges the opinion of Rav. There are several actions that are lacking. Warming in a stack, bringing the grapes to wine press, treading upon it, drying the wine out in the pit where it's stored. Where it says the thunder of Chia. This can be explained in Chia teaches concerning the difficulty raised from the next clause of the Mishnah. The Mishnah is not discussing setting a price on olives immediately after they were picked, but they were picked, but rather was a stack of kamer warmed olives. We're also speaking about a price for a stack of warmed grapes. Where it says class, but there are three actions that are lacking. Where it says Mishnah is discussing a place where the local custom is that one who purchases the grapes is the one who draws the wine out of the wine press. Only two actions remain to complete the labor before the merchandise will be ready for purchase.
I've never called ready. That's the you go so. Called ready to eat.
One may send a price for a vat of olives. So based on this, the Gemara says, there are still several actions that are lacking. Warming the olives in a stack, bringing the olives to the wine press, pressing them, drawing the oil out of them, into the pit where it's stored. Chia teaches the Brisa with a different girsa. Shreis for a stack of olives that has already been warmed. Furthermore, you get last, but there are still three actions that are lacking. Bringing the olives to the olive press, pressing them, drawing the oil. It says Ba'asa though, the Zamanu. Mishnah discussing a case where the local customs that one who purchases the olive is the one who draws the oil. Mishnah teaches that almost set a price for the clumps of clay prepared for use by a potter. Why? There are several actions that are lacking. Rolling them out of the proper size, dyeing them, putting them into a kiln, burning them, removing them. Or sister going to Melaf case discussing where they were already rolled out and dried. We still have three actions that are lacking. And for the one Abasa, the Zaman of the Mafik. Mishnah is discussing a place where the local custom is that one who purchases the clumps of clay is the one who removes them from the clay. The Gemara says, teaches that one who set a price, Valasid, Ishakeno Bakishan. Faster after he sung it to the kiln. But there are several actions that are lacking, burning it, removing it, and grinding it. When it says, discussing a place where the local customs that one who purchases the plaster is the one who grinds it. The Shmuel Damar be done on Philemea Pesach. But according to Shmuel says that all actions that are done by human hands, even when 100 actions are lying, he can make a price. Why do I need a statement that says after the song into the kiln? Say when it's fit, let's be something to kill. The Mishnah says the woman may set a price for the clumps of clay prepared by used by father. One may not set a price for the clumps of clay prepared for use by a potter until they are fully formed. So the mayor, these are the words that
should make the end up like what's the story about how that happened? City using looking good.
Huh?
Open lady the apes. What do you need that one son but so maybe something mention something.
You use not no beitzim. I don't know if it's not the eggs. It's beitzim is the clumps. Take clumps of clay, prepared for a potter to make like this. It says beitzim sheish. So this. In peskim ala beitzim sheish achi also. We may not set a price for clumps of clay prepared for use of a potter until they are fully formed. Our Rabbi S Greenwald says, when does it say? Ba'ofra lavon. Regard to white earth, from which superior clay pottery is made. Ba'ofra shachar, with regard to black earth, we go in kfar chananya b'chabrisa, such as kfar chananya and in chabrisa. Kfar shichem b'chabrisa, paiske. One may set a price immediately. Even if this one does not have, this possession will list out another. Right, it's black earth is a commodity. Why says Amemar gave money to a seller of clumps of clay only in the time that the clay was brought into the house. Kiman, according with who opinion did he act? Ikre mayor, if it's in accordance with the opinion of a mayor, Adshi also. He says that you're not allowed to make a price until they're fully formed. And we need to wait until the merchandise is delivered to the house. If it's according to the opinion of Rabbi Yasi, Rabbi Yasi saying that one may set a price at any time, even though this one does not have any, that one does have it.
Or you could move it.
Right. So the says, Rabbi Yasi, Rabbi Yasi. But Amir's locale earth, suitable for making clay, was scarce. So much so that even black clay was not common. The clay was brought into the house.
The fine it is.
If the clay was brought into the house, he relied on it and gave it to the seller the money. If not, he did not rely on it. Mishnah said, one may set a price for him for manure on any days of the year. Rabbi Yasi permitted this only if he already had a pile of manure, whereas the Chacham permitted it. The Tanakam are saying the same thing. Rabbi says, the difference is to regards to rainy seasons. According to the first Tana, one may set a price for future delivery of manure at any point of the year, including the rainy seasons. But according to the Chacham, one may not arrange for the delivery during the rainy seasons because manure is not commonly available then. Mishnah teaches a place you make a shana gabe. One may set a price at the highest rate, meaning he may set a price for future delivery of produce and make it tonight that if the market rate falls below the agreed price, he will purchase the product according to the lowest price in effect in the market at any point during the year, which is the price that will provide the highest amount of merchandise for the amount he agreed to pay. What is this? There was a certain man who gave money to sellers to buy jewelry for his dowry, on behalf of his father. He intended, as his intended follower made him shtir to buy the jewelry for part of the ledunya. So now, the guy who was Mekudesh made a t'nai with the seller that they would provide the jewelry in time of the wedding. Ultimately, the jewelry of the dowry became less expensive as the price fell. So the chassan wanted to retract his commitment to buy the jewelry at the higher price. Also, he came in front of Rapapa for a psak. If you set a price with the seller to buy the jewelry at the higher price, the larger amount of jewelry at the price that you're willing to pay, take the jewelry at the present price. Be alive, but if not, then take out the price that you set initially. If he did not set a price at the highest rate, must he take the merchandise at the price he set initially? Now, this is a case of money, and like giving money alone does not affect acquisition. Amar lo, so Baba said to them, I didn't mean that it was an actual acquisition. I said, I also agree that giving money is mais like kanis. I said with regards to accepting upon himself the curse of Mishapara. Now, if the guy set a price at the highest rate, the buyer is in the right. The seller is the one who retracted. If the guy set a price at the highest rate, the buyer is in right. If so, the seller is the one who retracted, and therefore the seller accepts upon himself this curse of Mishapara.
It costing, let's say that gold that's the line that was a bronze feet and to manufacture it. You have to count it being the living. It would be the Chinese it's in the family order when to be rolling beef butchers and the bonds are being purchased in that pot.
You're right.
What the liberty spending into is the thing on the bond.
Right, and if the buyer retracted, and therefore the buyer accepts upon him, then Mishapar. I'm not even let a papa. Says it this. From where do you know the psak in the mission that if he did not set a set price according to the highest rate, he must acquire the merchandise at the price he set initially? Isn't according to the opinion of Chacham disagree with Rav Shimon and say that money is like and even so. They hold that if he set a price at the highest rate, he takes it at the current price. And if he did not set the price to the highest rate, he takes it at the price he set initially. Dilma Rav Shimon. Perhaps this is Rav Shimon. Omar who says money is crazy. Rav Shimon holds that money does take effect. And therefore, if he set the price to the highest rate, he takes it at the current price. If he did not set the price to the highest rate, he takes it at the price of initially. Since giving money affects acquisition. But according to the opinion of Chachamim, but according to the opinion of Chachamim, whether you set a price at the highest rate or do not set a price at the highest rate, he takes it at the current price. The person's intention is always to acquire merchandise at the least expensive price. So I'm there, Baba said to him, see that Chachamim is psaka giving money affects acquisition in a case where there is one price. Price did not change in the meantime. But today, did he say his ruling where there were two prices? He didn't say this. If you don't say this, the Mishapara will not apply to the buyer under any circumstance according to the opinion of Shimon. And if you say that indeed it doesn't apply, the time we learn the komakim kachalocha from Mishapara, they see will get Mishapara. The Master Papa says, "My mikomakim." What does it mean mikomakim? Lav leishna lekev leishna meichin mekavol Mishapara must be side the buyer and the seller gets the Mishapara. The Komer of Shimon bechatar. It must be the Shimon saying where there was one price. So they tired of them. They said, "I'm the Ramacha bnei the Rabbi Rashi, but they beglay the Shliach Shavim Mikara." The Papa learned that the Allah in the case of in the dunya, implying is that the father-in-law initially made the guy a shliach, and since he was a shliach, the father-in-law can say to him, "I sent you to the purchasing the jewels at a more expensive price is basically a detriment to the father-in-law. Therefore, the shliach is his bottle." Speaking here about a case where the father-in-law did not actually make him a shliach, rather the guy was a merchant who buys and sells merchandise. The father understands that he engaged in commerce and that he will not always profit from this trading. Okay, let's do a little bit more. So the Mishnah. Person may lend the wheat to his sharecroppers in exchange for wheat for the purpose of seeding, meaning that he may lend them the quantity of wheat with which to seed the field, and at harvest time the sharecropper will add the amount of grain that he borrowed to the landlord's portion of the yield. But he may not lend the wheat for the sharecroppers to eat and be paid back with equivalent quantity. Because this is creating Rebus. Shimon Gamliel would lend the wheat to his sharecroppers in exchange for wheat for purposes of seeding, and if he lent it at a higher price, it was If he lent it at a high price and the price then fell, if he lent it at an inexpensive price and the price subsequently rose, so okay, so he would take back from them at the inexpensive price. Oh, he wanted to be a macron. Person may lend the wheat to the sharecropper in exchange for wheat for the purpose of sitting. All cases the statement said is when the sharecropper has not yet gone down into the field to begin to work. But if he had gone down the field to begin to work, lending him wheat under these terms is also. Furthermore, what is the difference about the Tana and our Mishnah? Who doesn't differentiate between when the sharecropper went down or did not go down? Mashna Tana Bada to come out the Yard ben Layard. What's the difference between our Tana the Bryce, who does differentiate between whether he went down or did not go down? He went down into the field, yeah.
What's the problem of Elinor? What happened? Trail and about the bit about those. What are you worried about?
So that's the Gemara wants to know. What are we worried about? What's someone? Right. What's the difference? Someone Rabbi says, Rabbi asked Nahali. Rabbi explained this matter to me. Asked the Tana Didan in the locale of the Tana of our Mishnah. Harisi Yoy Birsra. The local custom was that the sharecropper would provide the seeds. And therefore, whether he went down or did not go down, as long as he did not put the seeds into the field, the landowner can remove him from the field. So in the case of the landowner gives the sharecroppers the seeds, he sets the terms of the sharecroppers. The chikanachis, and when the sharecropper goes down into the field, the psir chikanachis, he goes down into the field for less than this, under the agreement that he will reduce his share of the crop in order to return the seed in the land. They asked the Tana Bara, and the locale Tana the Brisa, Mori Ari Yoy Bizra. The landowner is the one who would provide the seeds. If he has not yet gone down into the field, the landowner can remove him. And therefore, when he goes down to the field, he goes down for less than this. But if he went down, and therefore the landowner can no longer remove him, then also it's us. A person can say to his friend, lend me a core of wheat, and the lender may set a price for him. Stating that the borrower must repay the wheat in the future according to the value of the wheat at the time of the loan. Now, if by the time the borrower must repay the loan, the wheat depreciates in value, he gives the lender the quantity of wheat equivalent to that one he borrowed. It appreciates, based on the name, he gives the value of the wheat he borrowed as per the market rate when he borrowed, as agreed but no more. Now the Gemara questions this rule. If the price of wheat depreciates, why would it be permitted for the borrower to pay him with wheat worth less than the value of the amount he borrowed? All it cuts is, but he fixed a price at the time of the loan, and therefore the borrower owes him this amount of money. And if the lender did not set a price, but merely lent him the wheat, and it depreciates in value, then the lender takes the wheat, as he did not agree, the borrower must repay the wheat according to its value at the time of the loan. But if it appreciates in value, then the borrower gives the value of the wheat he borrowed as per the market rate when he borrowed in order to avoid the repayment of it.